The sound of bone breaking was quieter than Elena expected, almost like a branch snapping. Her husband, a millionaire real estate developer, had just broken her arm. She was 8 months pregnant, and this was about to become the biggest mistake of his life. Because when they rushed to the emergency room that night, the X-ray technician who walked through the door was someone Garrett Hartford never expected to see. Someone who knew Elena before she disappeared, before she stopped answering calls, before she became a ghost. Her brother. And what Noah saw on that X-ray screen made his blood run cold. This wasn't an accident. This was assault, and it was about to unravel a web of crimes that went far beyond domestic violence. Money laundering, drug cartels, federal investigations, and a life insurance policy worth $2 million that Elena never signed. This is the true story of how one random hospital shift became the beginning of the end for a dangerous man. How a pregnant woman became an FBI informant, and how courage, when you have absolutely nothing left to lose, can bring down an empire. Stay with me, because what happens next will shock you. The sound of bone breaking was quieter than Elena expected, almost like a branch snapping. Clean. Final. She stared at her arm. The angle was wrong. Her wrist bent where no joint should bend. The pain hadn't registered yet. Just ice water flooding through her veins. Cold shock. Look what you made me do. Garrett's voice cut through the ringing in her ears. He stood 3 feet away in their pristine kitchen. His face was flushed, his chest heaved, but his voice was already shifting, from rage to something else, something practiced. Elena cradled her arm against her belly, 8 months pregnant. The baby kicked hard, like she knew, like somehow she knew. I didn't mean to. Garrett stepped closer. His hand reached toward her. Elena flinched. He stopped. You pushed me too far. I was at the doctor. Elena's voice came out small, weak. She hated how weak she sounded. The appointment ran late. I couldn't help it. You could have called. I did call 3 times. I was in a meeting. The pain arrived, a wave of white-hot fire from her wrist to her shoulder. Elena gasped. Her knees buckled. She gripped the counter with her good hand. We need to go to the hospital. Garrett was already moving, getting his keys, his wallet. Come on, let me help you. He guided her toward the garage, gentle now, his hand on her lower back, like a concerned husband, like he hadn't just broken her arm because dinner was late. In the car, Elena sat perfectly still. Each bump sent lightning through her arm. The baby kept kicking, restless, agitated. You tripped on the stairs. Garrett's eyes stayed on the road. His voice was calm, matter of fact. Remember, you were carrying laundry. You tripped. Elena said nothing. Elena. His hand found her knee, squeezed. Not hard, just enough. You tripped on the stairs. That's what happened. I tripped on the stairs. Her voice was automatic, mechanical. Good girl. The drive to Metro General took 17 minutes. Elena counted every one. She counted because counting meant thinking. Thinking meant not feeling. Not feeling meant surviving. She checked her phone 3 times. Lock, unlock, lock, unlock, lock. Her thumb moved without conscious thought. Checking for what? A message? An escape route? She didn't even know anymore. Garrett pulled into the emergency entrance. A nurse with a wheelchair was already approaching. Saturday night at a city hospital meant controlled chaos. People everywhere. Ambulances, police cars, humanity at its most broken. What happened? The triage nurse was brisk, efficient. She'd seen it all. I fell, Elena heard herself say. The lie came easily now. Too easily. On the stairs. I'm so clumsy these days. The nurse glanced at Elena's belly, then at her arm. Something flickered in her eyes, but she just nodded, typed into her computer. Any other injuries? No. Is the baby moving? Yes, a lot, actually. Good. We'll get you to X-ray, see what we're dealing with. The nurse handed them forms. Fill these out. Someone will call you back shortly. Garrett took the clipboard. His hand rested on Elena's shoulder. To anyone watching, it looked supportive, comforting. Elena felt the weight of it like an anchor, like chains. They sat in the waiting area. Garrett filled out the forms. He knew all her information by heart, her social security number, her insurance, her medical history. He knew everything. He controlled everything. Elena Hartford? A tech in blue scrubs stood in the doorway, young, professional, holding a tablet. Garrett stood. That's us. Just the patient, please. The tech smiled apologetically. X-ray room is small. You can wait here. We'll bring her right back. Garrett's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Sat back down, his eyes locked on Elena. A warning, a reminder, be good. Elena followed the tech down a long corridor. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. The floor was polished to a high shine. Everything smelled like antiseptic and fear. Through here, the tech held open a door. Have a seat on the table. I'll be right back. Elena sat. The table was hard, cold through her thin dress. She'd been making dinner when it happened. Still wearing the dress Garrett liked. The one he'd bought her, navy blue, conservative, appropriate for a pregnant wife. The door opened. The tech entered, back turned, checking equipment, pulling up her file on the computer. Okay, let's see what we've got here. His voice was familiar somehow. Can you confirm your name and date of birth? Elena Hartford, March 15th, 1996. The tech froze. His hand stopped mid-reach for the lead apron. Slowly he turned. Noah. Time stopped. Elena's breath caught. Her brother. Her brother was standing in front of her. Noah, who she hadn't seen in 2 years. Noah, who Garrett said didn't want to see her anymore. Noah, who she'd been forbidden to contact. Elena? Noah's voice cracked. His eyes scanned her face, then dropped to her belly, then to her arm. What happened? She couldn't speak, couldn't move, just stared at him, at his familiar face. Older now, tired, but still Noah, still her big brother who used to check for monsters under her bed, who taught her to ride a bike, who walked her down the aisle when their father couldn't. I need to examine your arm. Noah's voice shifted, professional, but his hand shook as he approached. Can you tell me how this happened? I fell. The lie tasted like acid. Down the stairs. Noah said nothing. He helped her position her arm on the x-ray plate. His touch was so gentle. Nothing like Garrett's hands. Nothing like the grip that had twisted her wrist until she felt the bone give. She could see him processing, taking in details. The way she held herself, the careful way she moved, the old bruises peeking from under her sleeve, yellowing fingerprints on her upper arm. Stay still. Noah stepped behind the protective shield. Don't move. The machine whirred. Click. A flash of light. Noah stared at the monitor. Too long. His jaw clenched. Unclenched. He zoomed in on the image, enhanced it, studied it with the intensity of someone who knew exactly what he was seeing. Elena! He came back around, crouched in front of her so they were eye level. This is a spiral fracture. She said nothing. Do you know what that means? His voice was carefully controlled. It means someone twisted your arm. It doesn't happen from falling. I fell. Her voice was barely a whisper. Please, Noah. I fell. How many months pregnant are you? 8. His eyes closed, just for a second. When they opened, they were filled with something that looked like rage and grief mixed together. Is Garrett still in the waiting room? She nodded. I need to get the doctor. Noah stood. Stay here, please. Just stay here. Noah! Elena grabbed his wrist with her good hand. Desperate. Please don't make this worse. Worse? He looked at her, really looked at her. Elena, your arm is broken. You're 8 months pregnant. How much worse can it get? He didn't understand. He couldn't understand. If he made waves, if he caused problems, Garrett would know. And when they got home, when they were alone, it would be so much worse. But Noah was already gone. Out the door, moving fast. Elena sat alone in the x-ray room. The machine hummed quietly. The walls were painted a calming blue. There was a poster about radiation safety, another about proper positioning techniques. Everything so normal, so routine. Her arm throbbed. The adrenaline was wearing off. Pain settled in like an unwelcome guest. Sharp, insistent, real. The baby kicked again, hard enough to make Elena gasp. She rested her good hand on her belly, made small circles, soothing, calming. I'm sorry, she whispered to her daughter, because she knew it was a girl. They'd found out at the 20-week ultrasound. Garrett wanted a boy. I'm so sorry, baby girl. Her internal voice was clearer than it had been in months, maybe years. God, I was so stupid. The signs were all there, the way he isolated me from everyone, the way he tracked my phone, the way he made me ask permission to leave the house. When did I become this person? When did I forget who I was before him? The door opened. Noah returned with a woman in a white coat. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, according to her badge. Mid-40s, kind eyes, the kind of eyes that had seen too much. Mrs. Hartford, I'm Dr. Mitchell. She pulled up a stool, sat down, made herself smaller, less threatening. Your brother is concerned about you. Elena's eyes darted to Noah. He stood by the door, arms crossed, face grim. I'm fine. Elena's voice was automatic. I just fell. May I examine you? Dr. Mitchell didn't wait for an answer. She rolled up Elena's sleeve. The bruises were clear under the harsh lights. Purple, yellow, green, various stages of healing. How did you get these? I bruise easily. The pregnancy. And these? Dr. Mitchell's fingers hovered over the fingerprint-shaped marks. 5 distinct impressions where someone had gripped her. Hard. These are defensive injuries. Elena pulled her arm back. I need to get back to my husband. Mrs. Hartford, I'm a mandated reporter. Dr. Mitchell's voice was gentle but firm. Do you know what that means? Elena shook her head. It means if I suspect abuse, I'm legally required to report it. Dr. Mitchell pulled out her phone. I'm required to document what I see, and I'm required to call the police. No, Elena stood. Ellen. Too fast, pain shot through her arm. She swayed. Noah caught her, steadied her. No police, please, you don't understand. Help me understand, Mitchell said. But Elena couldn't, because putting it into words made it real, made it true, made her complicit in her own destruction. He's in the waiting room. Elena's voice rose, panic edged in. He's waiting for me. If I don't come back, if he thinks I said something, he'll know. He has cameras everywhere. He tracks everything. You don't know what he's capable of. Noah and Dr. Mitchell exchanged a look, a long look that communicated something Elena couldn't quite read. Okay. Dr. Mitchell stood. Here's what's going to happen. We're moving you to a private room for monitoring because you're pregnant and you've had a traumatic injury. He won't allow that. He doesn't have a choice. Dr. Mitchell opened the door, called for a nurse. This is a medical decision, and you're my patient, not him. Everything moved quickly after that. Elena was transferred to a wheelchair, taken through a different corridor, away from the waiting room, away from Garrett, away from the life she'd built on lies and fear. The room they put her in was small, quiet. A security guard stood outside. Through the window, Elena could see the parking lot, see Garrett pacing, phone pressed to his ear, getting angry. She could read his body language even from a distance, the sharp gestures, the aggressive stance. I'm not leaving you. Noah pulled up a chair, sat next to her. I'm not leaving you alone again. Elena started to cry, silent tears that she'd held back for so long. 2 years. 2 years since she'd seen her brother. 2 years of isolation, of control, of slowly disappearing until she wasn't sure who she'd been before Garrett. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Don't. Noah's voice was rough. Don't apologize. This isn't your fault. But it felt like her fault. It felt like every choice she'd made had led to this moment. This broken arm, this hospital room, this shame. Dr. Mitchell entered with a police officer, middle-aged, professional. He had the look of someone who'd worked domestic violence cases before. Seen this pattern too many times. Mrs. Hartford, I'm Detective James Reynolds. He sat down slowly, gave her space. Your doctor called me, and I need to ask you some questions. I don't want to press charges, Elena said immediately. I just want to go home. I understand. Detective Reynolds nodded, but I still need to document what happened, for the record. So if you change your mind later, we have everything we need. Elena looked at Noah, at his face filled with concern and guilt. She looked at Dr. Mitchell, at her professional compassion. She looked at Detective Reynolds, at his patient determination. She looked at her broken arm, at the cast they'd have to put on it, at the evidence of what her life had become. And Elena realized something that crystallized in that moment with sudden clarity. This was it. The moment everything changed. Whether she wanted it to or not, the secret was out. Her brother knew, the hospital knew, the police knew. There was no going back to normal. Because normal was broken, normal was wrong, normal was killing her. Okay, Elena took a shaky breath. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. And for the first time in 2 years, Elena Hartford told the truth. Noah couldn't stop looking at his sister's arm. The X-ray image was burned into his mind, a perfect spiral fracture of the radius, the kind of break that only happened one way, when someone grabbed and twisted with force. He'd seen it before. In his 4 years as an X-ray technician, he'd seen it dozens of times, defensive injuries they called them. The bones told stories that victims couldn't. But this was Elena, his little sister, the girl who used to bring him cookies in college, who called him crying after bad dates, who asked him to walk her down the aisle because their dad was too sick. The girl he hadn't seen in 2 years. When did it start? Detective Reynolds had his notebook out, pen ready, but his posture was relaxed, non-threatening. Lena stared at her hands. The good one cradled the broken one. I don't know, it wasn't always like this. Tell me about today, Reynolds said. Just today. We'll work backwards from there. I had a doctor's appointment. Lena's voice was flat, mechanical. For the baby, the 28-week checkup. It ran late. The doctor wanted to do an extra ultrasound because the baby's measuring a little big. Noah watched her face. She wasn't looking at any of them, just staring at some point on the wall, dissociating. He'd read about it. Trauma response. The mind protecting itself. When I got home, dinner wasn't ready. Elena continued. Garrett was hungry. He'd had a bad day at work. Some deal fell through. He was already frustrated. What happened next? Reynolds asked. He asked why dinner wasn't ready. I explained about the appointment, that I told him this morning it might run late. Elena paused. He said I should have called. I said I did call, 3 times. He said I was lying. Dr. Mitchell was standing by the window, arms crossed, face tight. Noah could see her struggling to maintain professional composure. I tried to explain. Elena's voice got quieter. I said I really did call. I could show him my phone, but that made him angrier. He said I was calling him a liar, that I was always making excuses. And then, Reynolds prompted gently, I said I was 8 months pregnant, that I couldn't help if the appointment ran late, that I'd start dinner right away. Elena's good hand moved to her belly, protective, instinctive. He grabbed my arm, said I was talking back, that I was disrespectful. The room was silent except for Reynolds' pen scratching across paper. He twisted it. Elena's voice broke. I felt it snap. It was so loud. I thought everyone in the neighborhood must have heard it. Noah's jaw clenched so tight his teeth ached. He remembered Garrett from the wedding. Charming, successful, the kind of guy who seemed perfect on paper. 38 years old, self-made millionaire, real estate developer. Everyone thought Elena had won the lottery. Noah had thought something was off, something about the way Garrett touched Elena. Possessive rather than affectionate. The way he answered questions for her, made decisions without asking her opinion. But Elena seemed happy, and Noah had convinced himself he was being overprotective, that he needed to let his little sister live her own life. Then the call stopped coming. The texts went unanswered. Family dinners were canceled, last minute, always with reasonable excuses. Garrett's work. Elena wasn't feeling well. They had other plans. Noah tried to visit. Garrett met him at the door, said Elena was sleeping, was coming down with something, didn't want to get Noah sick. It was considerate. It made sense. Except it kept happening, again and again, until Noah finally confronted Garrett, asked what was really going on. Garrett's face had gone cold. He'd said Elena didn't want to see Noah anymore, that she was tired of his judgment, his disapproval of her marriage, his constant criticism. None of it was true, but Garrett said it with such conviction, such wounded sincerity. For a moment, Noah had almost believed him. Almost. He'd tried calling Elena directly. Her phone went straight to voicemail. He'd tried showing up unannounced. No one answered the door. He'd tried reaching out through social media. Her accounts were deleted. And slowly Noah had given up, convinced himself that maybe Elena really did want space, that maybe he had been too critical, too protective. Maybe she was happy and he just needed to accept that. Looking at her now, at the hollow expression in her eyes, at the way she flinched when someone moved too quickly, Noah wanted to break something, preferably Garrett's face. "Mrs. Hartford, do you have somewhere safe you can go?" Reynolds asked. "Family? Friends?" "No," Elena said immediately. "Everyone is. We're not close anymore." "She can stay with me," Noah spoke up. "I have a 2-bedroom apartment. She can take the spare room." "I can't." Elena shook her head. "Garrett will. He'll find me. He always finds me." "What do you mean?" Dr. Mitchell moved closer. "Has this happened before? Have you tried to leave?" Elena's laugh was bitter, broken. "I haven't left the house alone in 6 months, except for doctor's appointments. And even then, he tracks my car. GPS. He knows everywhere I go." "What about your phone?" Reynolds asked. "He monitors it, has some app installed, sees every call, every text, every website I visit." Noah felt sick. This wasn't marriage. This was prison. His sister was a prisoner in her own home, had been for months, maybe years, and he'd missed it. He'd given up instead of fighting harder. "Mrs. Hartford, I need to take photographs." Dr. Mitchell pulled out her phone. "Of your injuries, with your permission." Elena nodded numbly. Dr. Mitchell was methodical, professional. She photographed the broken arm, the bruises on the upper arm. She asked Elena to lift her shirt. More bruises on her ribs, finger-shaped marks on her hips. "Are there more?" Dr. Mitchell asked quietly. Elena nodded, pulled up her sleeve all the way, old scars on her forearm, burn marks, small, circular, like cigarette burns. Noah had to leave. He stepped into the hallway, pressed his back against the wall, tried to breathe, tried not to punch the wall, tried not to go to the waiting room and beat Garrett Hartford into the ground. A nurse passing by stopped. "Are you okay?" "No," Noah's voice was raw. "No, I'm really not." The nurse looked at him with understanding, with compassion. "Family?" "My sister, I haven't seen her in 2 years. Her husband wouldn't let me." Noah looked up. "She's in there right now, with a broken arm because she defended herself, because she tried to explain. And I gave up. I stopped trying to reach her." "You're here now," the nurse said simply. "That's what matters." But was it? Was it enough? Would being here now erase the 2 years of abandonment? Would it fix the damage? Would it make Elena trust him again? Noah went back inside. Elena was dressed again, sitting on the bed. Detective Reynolds was on his phone, having a quiet conversation with someone. "I'm not leaving you." Noah pulled his chair closer, took her good hand in both of his. "Whatever happens next, whatever you decide to do, I'm not leaving you alone again." Elena looked at him, really looked at him, her eyes filled with tears. "He said you didn't want to see me, that you told him I was making a mistake marrying him, that you thought I was stupid." "He lied." Noah's voice was fierce. "I tried to see you, dozens of times. He turned me away every time, said you were busy, or sick, or didn't want visitors. I thought," Elena's voice broke, "I thought everyone forgot about me, that no one cared, that maybe I deserved this because I made such a bad choice. You deserve to be safe. You deserve to be loved. You deserve so much better than this." Noah squeezed her hand. "And you're not stupid. He's a manipulator. This is what abusers do. They isolate. They control. They make you think you're crazy, that you're the problem." "I used to count my breaths at night," Elena whispered, "pretending to be asleep so he wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't touch me. I'd lie there perfectly still, in, out, waiting for him to fall asleep so I could finally relax." The casual way she said it made it worse, like this was normal. Like every wife pretended to sleep to avoid her husband. Like fear was just part of marriage. Detective Reynolds finished his call, came back over. "I made some calls. I've got a friend in the FBI, Special Agent Marcus Bishop. He'd like to talk to you. FBI? Elena's eyes went wide. Why? Your husband is Garrett Hartford, real estate developer. Reynolds sat down. He's been on their radar for a while. Financial Crimes Division. They suspect money laundering, tax fraud, but they haven't been able to build a solid case. I don't understand. Elena shook her head. What does that have to do with me? They need someone on the inside, Reynolds said carefully. Someone who has access to his office, his files, his computers. You want me to spy on him? Elena's voice rose. I can't. I can't do that if he found out. We'd protect you, Reynolds said, but I want you to talk to Agent Bishop first. Hear what he has to say, then decide. Noah watched his sister's face, saw the fear, the exhaustion, the bone-deep weariness of someone who'd been fighting too long. But underneath that, something else flickered, something that looked like anger. When? Elena asked it. He's on his way now. Reynolds checked his watch. Should be here in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. 20 minutes to process everything. 20 minutes to prepare for a decision that would change everything. Noah's phone buzzed, a text from his supervisor. He'd been gone too long, needed to get back to work or call out sick. I have to tell them something. Noah showed Elena the message. Do you want me to stay? I'll call out. Say it's a family emergency. It is a family emergency. Elena tried to smile. It didn't quite reach her eyes. But you don't have to lose your job. I'll be okay. You sure? Elena nodded, but her hand gripped his tighter. Come back, though, after your shift, if you can. I'll be here, Noah promised. I'll be right here. He left reluctantly, stopped at the nurse's station, found Dr. Mitchell updating charts. Can I ask you something? Noah kept his voice low. Of course. How bad is it, really? Noah needed to know, needed the unvarnished truth. I see the x-rays, the fracture, but there's more, isn't there? Dr. Mitchell glanced around, made sure they were alone. I've been practicing for 18 years. I've seen a lot of domestic violence cases. Your sister's it's systematic, methodical. The old injuries are strategically placed. Ribs, upper arms, places that are usually covered. And the burn marks they're deliberate. Noah's stomach churned. Torture. Yes, uttered Mitchell's voice was gentle but honest. That's exactly what it is. He's been torturing her, controlling her, breaking her down piece by piece. Can she recover? Mentally, I mean. Physically, the arm will heal, but with help, yes, Dr. Mitchell said. Therapy, support, time. But Noah, she has to want to leave. You can't force her. Even with everything that's happened tonight, she might go back to him. Why would she do that? Because it's familiar. Because change is terrifying. Because he's convinced her she can't survive without him. Dr. Mitchell touched his arm. Be patient with her. Be there. But don't push. Let her make her own choices. Noah nodded, went back to the x-ray department. Finished his shift on autopilot. Every patient he scanned, he thought about Elena. Every fracture he saw, he thought about systematic abuse. Every person who claimed they fell or tripped, he wondered how many were lying. His shift ended at 10. He drove straight back to the emergency department. Elena was still in the private room. But she wasn't alone. A man in a dark suit stood next to her bed, mid-40s, fit, the kind of presence that commanded respect. FBI written all over him. Noah. Elena's voice was different, stronger. This is Special Agent Marcus Bishop. Marcus extended his hand. Your sister is brave, incredibly brave. What's happening? Noah looked between them. Elena met his eyes, and in her gaze, Noah saw something he hadn't seen in 2 years. Hope. I'm helping them, Elena said. Her voice was steady, clear. I'm helping them build a case against Garrett, and then I'm leaving him. Special Agent Marcus Bishop had been investigating Garrett Hartford for 18 months. He had thick files, financial records, business transactions, suspicious account transfers, but nothing concrete enough for an indictment until tonight. Let me be clear about what we're talking about. Marcus sat across from Elena in the hospital room. Noah had returned from his shift. Dr. Mitchell had arranged for Elena to stay overnight for monitoring. Garrett was pacing in the lobby, making calls, getting aggressive with staff. Security was watching him carefully. Your husband runs a real estate development company, Hartford Properties. On paper, it's legitimate. He buys land, develops residential and commercial properties, sells them for profit. Elena nodded. She knew the basics, though Garrett never discussed business with her, said she wouldn't understand, said it was too complicated for her pretty little head. But the money doesn't add up. Marcus pulled out his tablet, showed her spreadsheets, numbers that meant nothing to Elena. He's moving large sums through shell companies, buying properties under false names. The patterns suggest money laundering, probably for drug cartels, possibly organized crime. I don't know anything about that, Elena said immediately. He never tells me about work. I believe you, Marcus said, but you're his wife. You have legal access to his office, his home computer, his files. With your help, we could get the evidence we need. He'll kill me. Elena's voice was flat, matter of fact. If he finds out I'm working with you, he'll kill me. Not metaphorically, actually kill me. Marcus didn't dismiss her fear, didn't tell her she was exaggerating. That's why we'd put protections in place. Wire you, give you a panic word. If things get dangerous, we pull you out immediately. You want me to go back? Elena couldn't believe it. You want me to go home, to him, after this? She held up her casted arm. I know what I'm asking. Marcus leaned forward. And I know it's not fair. You're the victim here. You shouldn't have to risk yourself further. But Mrs. Hartford, we're talking about a major operation. Your husband isn't just abusing you. He's helping drug traffickers move millions of dollars, money that funds violence, addiction, death. Elena's mind was reeling. The Garrett she knew was controlling, violent. But a criminal connected to cartels? It seemed impossible. But then again, she thought it impossible that he would break her arm, that he would burn her with cigarettes, that he would systematically destroy her sense of self. She'd been wrong about so much. What would I have to do? Elena asked. Noah grabbed her hand. Elena, you don't have to do this. What would I have to do? She repeated, looking at Marcus, ignoring her brother. Gather evidence, photograph documents, record conversations. We'd train you, give you equipment, coach you through every step. Marcus said, and the moment we have enough, we move in, arrest him, get him away from you permanently. How long? Days, maybe a week or two at most. We're close, we just need that last piece, the smoking gun that ties him directly to the money. Elena closed her eyes. She was so tired, tired of being afraid, tired of walking on eggshells, tired of disappearing piece by piece until she wasn't sure who she was anymore. If I do this, if I help you, what happens to me? And the baby? Her hand rested on her belly. The baby was kicking, active, alive. We protect you, witness protection if necessary. We help you divorce him. We make sure he never gets near you or your child again. Marcus's voice was sincere, earnest. Mrs. Hartford, I've been doing this job for 22 years. I've put away murderers, rapists, traffickers, but domestic abusers are. They're special because they don't just hurt their victims once. They hurt them every day. They break them down until there's nothing left, and the system often fails the victims. Elena knew that was true. How many times had she thought about calling the police? But what would she say? That her husband was mean? That he controlled her? That he made her feel small? Those weren't crimes, they were just marriage problems. That's what everyone would say, even the broken arm. Garrett would hire expensive lawyers, say it was an accident, say she was lying, say she was trying to take his money in a divorce, and people would believe him because he was Garrett Hartford, millionaire, pillar of the community, donor to children's hospitals. Nobody would believe the truth. Show me, Elena said. Show me the evidence you have. I want to see what kind of person I married. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. He pulled up files on his tablet, showed her transaction records, payments to offshore accounts, properties bought with Waj. business deals with known criminals. Elena stared at the screen, at the evidence of a life she knew nothing about. She thought about their house, the big beautiful house in the gated community, the new car he'd bought her, that she wasn't allowed to drive without permission, the designer clothes in her closet that he'd chosen for her, the jewelry, the furniture, the life that looked perfect from the outside. Blood money, all of it, built on crime, on suffering, on death. She thought about her daughter, growing up in that house, learning that this was normal, that men controlled women, that love meant ownership, that fear was just part of life. No, I'll do it. Elena's voice was steady, strong. Tell me what you need. Noah squeezed her hand. Elena, please think about this. I have thought about it. She looked at her brother, really looked at him. For 2 years, I've thought about nothing else. Every day, I think about leaving. Every day, I tell myself tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be brave. Tomorrow, I'll walk out. But tomorrow never comes. Because I'm scared. Because he's broken me down so far, I can't remember how to be strong. Her voice rose, passionate, angry. But tonight he went too far. He broke my arm while I'm carrying his child. And you know what the worst part is? Part of me thinks I deserved it. Part of me believes him when he says I made him do it. And that's not okay. Elena's internal voice was screaming, I'm not crazy. I know what I'm seeing, the pattern, the control, the systematic destruction. God, how did I let it get this bad? When did I stop recognizing myself in the mirror? If I go back, if I help you, at least I'm doing something. Elena continued, at least I'm fighting back. Even if he doesn't know it. Even if he thinks he's won. I'll know I fought back. Marcus nodded slowly. Okay, here's what happens next. Tomorrow, you'll be discharged. I'll have already spoken with Garrett. Explain that you need to stay overnight for observation. That the baby's under stress, that it's routine. He'll be furious, Elena said. Let him be, Marcus said. He can't do anything here. Too many witnesses, too much security. Tomorrow, before you're discharged, we'll wire you, show you how to use the equipment, give you instructions. Then you go home. Just like that? Just like that. Elena felt like she was floating outside her body, watching this happen to someone else. Some other woman making this impossible choice. But it was her. This was her life, her decision, her risk. Can I see him? Elena asked. Garrett, can I see him tonight? Why? Noah looked alarmed. Because if I don't, he'll know something's wrong. Elena said, he knows me, knows how I react. If I refuse to see him, if I stay away, he'll get suspicious. And if he's suspicious, when I come home tomorrow, he'll watch me too carefully. I won't be able to help. Marcus considered this. You're right, okay, but we'll be watching. Security, police. If he tries anything, we stop it. 10 minutes later, Garrett was allowed in the room. He looked worried, concerned. The perfect husband. He rushed to Elena's side, tried to take her hand. She pulled away slightly, a natural reaction to pain. Not defiance. He couldn't read it as defiance. Baby, I'm so sorry. His voice was thick with emotion. I've been so worried. They wouldn't let me see you. I'm okay. Elena's voice was small, weak, the way he liked it. The baby's okay. They just want to monitor us overnight. I'll stay, Garrett said immediately. I'll sleep in the chair. You don't have to, Elena said. You have that meeting in the morning, the one with the investors. She remembered, of course she remembered. She remembered everything, every detail, every preference, every schedule. Because forgetting meant punishment, forgetting meant making him angry. Garrett's face softened. You're right. You're so good. Always thinking of me. He kissed her forehead. I'll come get you first thing in the morning. Take you home. Take care of you. Thank you, Elena whispered. He left. Finally, after 20 minutes of hovering, of apologizing, of explaining how stressed he'd been, how the business was difficult, how he'd just snapped, how it would never happen again. The same speech he'd given before, after the ribs, after the concussion, after the burns. It would never happen again. Until it did. Elena sat alone in the hospital room. Noah had gone to get coffee. Mitchell was checking on other patients. Marcus was making calls, arranging protection, planning operations. She was alone with her thoughts, her memories, her fear. The door opened quietly. A woman entered, mid-50s, professional but warm. She held a clipboard. "Mrs. Hartford? I'm Patricia Jennings. I'm a social worker here at the hospital. Dr. Mitchell asked me to check in with you." "I'm fine," Elena said automatically. Patricia smiled gently. "May I sit?" Elena nodded. "I work specifically with domestic violence victims." Patricia said, "I've seen a lot of cases, a lot of women in your situation. And I want you to know something. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to help the FBI. You don't have to go back. You don't have to make any decisions tonight. Everyone keeps telling me what I don't have to do." Elena's voice was tired. "But nobody tells me what I should do." "That's because only you know what's right for you," Patricia said. "But I can tell you what I know. Leaving an abuser is the most dangerous time. Statistically, you're most likely to be seriously hurt or killed when you try to leave. That's that's the reality." Elena knew that. Deep down, she'd always known that. But staying is death too. Patricia continued, "Maybe not physical death, but the death of who you are, your spirit, yourself. Every day you stay, a little bit more of you dies, until one day you can't remember who you were before him." "I can't remember," Elena whispered. I try. I try to remember who I was, what I liked, what I wanted, but it's all gone. He took it all." Patricia took her hand. "It's not gone, it's just buried, under all the fear and control, but it's still there, waiting. And if you leave, if you get safe, you can find yourself again." "What if there's nothing left to find?" "There is." Patricia's voice was certain. "I promise you, there is." They sat together in silence. The hospital hummed around them. Machines beeping, footsteps in hallways. The ambient noise of life continuing, of people healing, of people surviving. "My mother stayed," Patricia said quietly. "With my father. He beat her for 30 years. She never left. She died when I was 26. Heart attack. But I think her heart was already broken. I think she died long before her body gave up. I'm sorry." Elena didn't know what else to say. "I became a social worker because of her," Patricia said, "because I wanted to help other women make different choices, better choices. But I also know it's not simple. It's never simple. And nobody can make the choice for you." Patricia stood, left her card on the bedside table. "Call me, anytime, day or night, if you need to talk, if you need help, if you need someone who understands." After she left, Elena picked up the card. Patricia Jennings, LCSW, Domestic Violence Services, a phone number, an email, an offer of help. Elena put the card in her pocket. A small piece of hope, a small piece of possibility. Noah returned with coffee, sat with her. They didn't talk much, just sat together, brother and sister, family, connection. Something Garrett had tried so hard to destroy but couldn't quite break. "Do you remember?" Elena said softly. "When we were kids, Dad used to take us to that park, by the lake. Eagle Point." Noah smiled. "We'd feed the ducks. You always gave them too much bread. Mom would get mad, say we'd make them sick. But they were so happy." Noah laughed. "Those ducks loved us." "I was happy then." Elena's voice broke. "I don't remember the last time I was happy." Noah wrapped his arm around her shoulders, careful of her injury. "You'll be happy again. I promise, this isn't forever. It feels like forever. But it's not." Elena wanted to believe him, wanted to believe happiness was possible, that life could be different, that she could be free. But belief required hope, and hope was dangerous. Hope meant opening yourself to disappointment, to failure, to more pain. Still, a tiny spark flickered, deep inside, beneath all the fear and exhaustion. Maybe hope was worth the risk. Morning came too quickly. Elena had barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Garrett's face, heard the snap of bone breaking, felt the twist of her arm in his grip. Dr. Mitchell arrived at 7, checked Elena's vitals, checked the baby's heartbeat. Strong, steady, the baby was fine, resilient, already surviving trauma before even being born. "How are you feeling?" Dr. Mitchell asked. Sore. Elena's arm throbbed. They'd given her pain medication, but only low dose, safe for pregnancy, not enough to really help. Scared. "That's normal." Dr. Mitchell sat on the edge of the bed. "Elena, I want you to know something. Whatever you decide to do, whether you work with the FBI or not, whether you leave him or not, I'm here. This hospital is here. We have resources, support groups, counseling, safe houses." "Thank you." Elena meant it. The kindness was overwhelming. She'd forgotten what it felt like to be cared for, to have people worry about her welfare without ulterior motives. "I need to document everything before you're discharged." Dr. Mitchell pulled out a camera. "More detailed photos, for the medical record, for any potential legal proceedings. Is that okay?" Elena nodded. She'd agreed to this last night, agreed to let them photograph every injury, every bruise, every mark, evidence, proof, validation that what was happening to her was real, that she wasn't crazy, that she wasn't making it up. Dr. Mitchell was gentle but thorough. She photographed Elena's arm, the swelling, the bruising. She photographed the old injuries, the healed fractures that showed up on x-rays, previous broken ribs, a hairline fracture in her collarbone, injuries Elena had never gotten treated, had hidden, had pretended didn't exist. "How many times has he hurt you?" Dr. Mitchell asked quietly. "I don't know." Elena's voice was hollow. "I stopped counting." "When was the first time?" Elena had to think, had to reach back through the fog of years. 6 months after we got married. I talked to an ex-boyfriend at a party, just talked. Catching up, old friends. Garrett saw us. Later at home, he pushed me. Not hard. I stumbled, hit my hip on the counter. Big bruise, but he apologized. Cried. Said he was so jealous. That he loved me so much, he couldn't stand seeing me with another man. Dr. Mitchell said nothing, just listened. Wrote notes. I thought it was romantic. Elena laughed bitterly. That's how messed up I was. I thought his jealousy meant he loved me. So I cut off contact with my ex, deleted him from social media, made sure Garrett felt secure. And did it stop? Dr. Mitchell asked. For a while. Then there was something else, always something else. I dressed too provocatively. I spent too much money. I didn't clean the house properly. Each time he'd get angry. Each time the anger got worse, more physical, more violent. The memories flooded back, things Elena had tried so hard to forget, to minimize, to explain away. The first time he hit me, really hit me, with a closed fist, that was a year ago. Elena's voice was distant, detached. I made plans with Rachel, my best friend, without asking him first. He said I was disrespectful, that a wife should always consult her husband. I said that was ridiculous, that I was allowed to have friends. What did he do? Dr. Mitchell's pen was still. He punched me in the stomach. Elena's hand moved to her abdomen, protective, even now. I wasn't pregnant then, but it was, the violence of it, the rage. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Just laid on the floor gasping. He stood over me, said next time I'd learn to ask permission. Dr. Mitchell's face was professionally neutral, but her eyes held sorrow, understanding, recognition of a pattern she'd seen too many times. After that, things got worse. He installed cameras in the house, said it was for security, but really he was watching me, making sure I followed the rules, making sure I didn't step out of line. Did you ever try to leave? Dr. Mitchell asked. Once. Elena's voice dropped to a whisper. I packed a bag, was going to go to a hotel, figure out what to do from there. He came home early, found the bomb. I've never seen him that angry. He locked me in the bedroom for 3 days. No phone, no computer, just me and my fear. Her internal voice broke through the story. I should have left then. I should have screamed, should have broken the window, should have done something, but I was too scared, too tired, too broken. When he finally let me out, he made me promise, on my mother's grave, that I'd never try to leave, that I'd be a good wife, that I'd obey. Elena looked at Dr. Mitchell, and I promised. Because I was so relieved to be out of that room, I would have promised anything. The door opened. Marcus Bishop entered. He looked alert despite the early hour. Ready. He had a bag with him. Equipment. Good morning. He greeted them both. Looked at Elena. Are you ready? Was she ready to go back into danger? Ready to spy on her husband? Ready to risk everything? No, she wasn't ready, but she was doing it anyway. Yes, Elena said, I'm ready. Marcus opened the bag, pulled out what looked like a normal watch, smartwatch, the kind everyone wore. This is your recording device. He handed it to Elena. Completely normal looking, but it's recording audio constantly. 36 hours of battery life. Touch the screen 3 times fast. That's your panic signal. We'll have a team monitoring. If you signal, we come in immediately. Elena put the watch on her good wrist. It felt heavy, significant, like shackles, or like armor. She wasn't sure which. We've also installed an app on your phone, Marcus showed her. Looks like a period tracking app, but it's actually a communication channel. You can type messages to me. They'll appear to be notes about your cycle, but I'll receive them in real time. He checks my phone, Elena said. I know. That's why it's disguised. And the messages auto-delete after I read them. No evidence. Marcus sat down. Elena, I need to be very clear about the risks. If Garrett discovers what you're doing, he will hurt you. Probably seriously. We'll get to you as fast as we can, but there might be minutes where you're alone with him, and he'll be dangerous. I understand. Elena's voice was steady. Your job is simple. Photograph documents. Record conversations. Try to get into his office, his computer, his files. But if you can't, if it's too risky, don't push it. Your safety is more important than the evidence. Elena almost laughed. Her safety. When had her safety ever been important? When had anyone prioritized her well-being over other concerns? But Marcus seemed sincere, so she nodded. Noah is your emergency contact. Marcus continued. If something happens, if you need immediate extraction, call him. We've set up a code word. Eagle Point. Elena glanced at her brother. He must have told Marcus about their childhood park, their safe place. Now it was a code word, a lifeline. Say it, Marcus instructed. So you remember. Eagle Point, Elena repeated. Good. Now, today Garrett will pick you up. He'll be attentive, careful, because he knows people are watching. He'll take you home. He might be gentle for a few hours, maybe a day, but eventually his real self will come out. And that's when we get the best evidence. What am I listening for? Elena asked. Anything about his business, names of associates, details about deals, references to money, offshore accounts, shell companies. Marcus pulled out a list. These are keywords we're tracking. If you hear any of these in conversation, make note. Try to record it clearly. Elena studied the list. Words like transfer, offshore, wire, clean, wash. Business terms. But in Garrett's world, they meant crime. They meant drugs. They meant death. How long? Elena asked. How long do I have to do this? We're hoping less than a week, Marcus said. We're close. So close. We just need that final piece, a recorded conversation, a document that ties him directly to the laundering. Then we move. And after you arrest him, Elena needed to know. He'll be charged with federal crimes, money laundering, racketeering, tax fraud. Those charges alone are 20 to 30 years. Add in the domestic violence, the assault. He's looking at serious prison time, 15 to 20 years minimum. 15 to 20 years. Elena tried to imagine it. 2 decades without fear, without walking on eggshells, without calculating every word, every movement, every breath. It seemed impossible, like a fantasy, like something that happened to other people but never to her. What if, Elena's voice wavered, what if he gets bail? What if he gets out before trial? We'll fight bail, Marcus said. With the domestic violence, the assault on a pregnant woman, the flight risk, he's a millionaire with resources. We'll argue he's too dangerous, too likely to flee. But they both knew that wasn't guaranteed. Rich men with good lawyers had a way of getting what they wanted, even when they shouldn't. I'll protect you. Noah spoke up. He'd been quiet, just listening. If he gets out, if he comes near you, I'll be there. Elena wanted to believe him, wanted to believe her brother could keep her safe. But Noah was a civilian. Garrett was dangerous, connected, capable of anything. Let's focus on now, Marcus said. On the next few days, get the evidence, build the case, then we deal with whatever comes next. A knock on the door. A nurse entered. Mrs. Hartford, your discharge papers are ready and your husband is here. Elena's heart rate spiked. She could see it on the monitor. The beeping accelerated. Dr. Mitchell put a hand on her shoulder. Breathe, you can do this. Could she? Could she walk out of this safe room, get in a car with the man who broke her arm, go back to the house that had become her prison, pretend everything was fine, pretend she was still his obedient wife? Lena took a deep breath, then another, focused on the baby kicking inside her, her daughter, her reason, her motivation, for her. All of this was for her. I'm ready. Elena stood. Her legs shook, but she stood. They helped her into the wheelchair. Hospital policy, even though she could walk. They wheeled her to the entrance. Garrett was waiting. He looked tired, worried. He rushed over. Baby, thank God, I was so worried. He kissed her forehead, took control of the wheelchair from the nurse. Let's get you home. Get you comfortable. The drive home was quiet. Garrett held her hand, kept glancing over at her, checking, always checking. I'm sorry, he said finally. I'm so sorry, Elena. I don't know what came over me. The stress, the business. It's no excuse, but I promise I'll do better. I'll be better. Elena had heard this before. The apology, the promise, the brief window of remorse before the cycle started again. It's okay, she said quietly. The words tasted like ash, but she said them because that's what he needed to hear. I understand. I love you so much. Garrett squeezed her hand. You know that, right? Everything I do is because I love you. Love. He used that word like a weapon, like a justification, like love meant ownership, control, violence. That's not love, Elena's internal voice screamed. Love doesn't break bones. Love doesn't burn. Love doesn't cage. This isn't love. This is possession. This is abuse. This is torture. But she smiled. She nodded. She played the role. Because now she had a plan. Now she had help. Now she had hope. And hope, Elena was learning, was the most dangerous thing of all. Because hope meant resistance, and resistance meant risk. But for the first time in years, Elena felt something other than fear. She felt determination. The house looked the same. Big, beautiful, pristine. The kind of house people dreamed about. 5 bedrooms, marble counters, a pool in the backyard, perfect landscaping, gates, security, privacy, a prison with a pretty face. Garrett helped Elena inside, gentle, careful. He'd transformed back into the concerned husband. At least for now. She knew it wouldn't last. It never did. Sit. He guided her to the couch. I'll get you water, your pain medication, anything you need. Elena sat. The watch felt heavy on her wrist. Recording, always recording now. She wondered if Marcus was listening. If a team somewhere was hearing every word, every sound, every moment of this performance. Thank you, she said when Garrett returned with water and pills. He sat next to her, too close, his hand on her knee, possessive even in gentleness. I've been thinking, Garrett's voice was careful, measured. Maybe you should stop going to the doctor alone. I'll take you to appointments. Make sure you're safe. Translation. I'll make sure you don't talk to anyone. Don't tell anyone. Don't ask for help. You're so busy. Elena kept her voice soft. non-threatening. I don't want to take you away from work. You're more important than work, Garrett said, but his jaw was tight. He didn't like being contradicted, even gently. Elena backed down immediately. Okay, if that's what you think is best. I do. He stood. I have some calls to make, for work. Will you be okay here? Yes, Elena nodded. I'll just rest. He left, went to his office upstairs, the office she was never allowed to enter. The door locked, always locked. Whatever secrets Garrett kept were behind that door. Elena sat very still, listening, waiting. She heard his footsteps overhead, heard the office door close, heard the lock click. She looked at the watch, touched the screen 3 times. Not a panic signal, just testing, making sure it worked, making sure help was really there. Her phone buzzed, a notification from the period tracker app. She opened it, a message from Marcus. We're here, we're listening, you're doing great. Elena exhaled, okay, she could do this. She could survive a few more days. She'd survived 2 years. What was a few more days? But those 2 years had been about enduring, surviving. This was different. This was active. This was fighting back. And the difference felt seismic. She got up slowly, careful of her arm, walked through the house, looking at it with new eyes, seeing the cameras Garrett had installed, tiny things mounted in corners. She'd stopped noticing them long ago, stopped thinking about being watched. But now she was hyper-aware. The kitchen where he'd broken her arm yesterday. The counter still had a small crack, from when she'd grabbed it for balance, evidence of violence in the pristine space. The living room where he'd pushed her into the coffee table. She could still see the faint stain on the carpet. Her blood. From when her head split open. He'd said she slipped, made her go to urgent care and lie. Say she hit her head on the bathtub, the bedroom, their bedroom, where he controlled every aspect. When she slept, how she dressed, whether she was allowed to say no. Marriage, he said, meant she couldn't refuse him. Her body was his, always his. Elena felt sick. How had she lived like this? How had she convinced herself this was normal? That this was just how marriage was? Her phone buzzed again, but not the app. A real call. Garrett calling from upstairs. Can you come up? His voice was neutral. I need you to look at something. Elena's heart rate jumped. The office. He wanted her in the office. This was either an opportunity or a trap. She climbed the stairs slowly, each step deliberate. The door was open. Garrett sat at his desk. Multiple monitors, stacks of files, a wall safe partially visible behind a painting. What is it? Elena stood in the doorway. She'd learned never to enter without explicit permission. Come in, Garrett gestured. Close the door. Elena did. The room felt smaller suddenly. The cameras. Were there cameras in here too? She couldn't see any, but that didn't mean anything. I need you to understand something. Garrett swiveled his chair to face her. Last night, the hospital, the police asking questions. The FBI agent who wants to talk to us. It's all very complicated. FBI agent. Elena felt ice in her veins. How did he know about Marcus? What FBI agent? She kept her voice confused, innocent. One of the doctors called them because of your injury. They think. They have concerns. Garrett's voice was tight. About our marriage. That's ridiculous, Elena said, playing her part. I fell. I told them I fell. I know you did. Garrett stood, approached her. Elena forced herself not to flinch, not to back away. But the problem is my business. It's under scrutiny right now, some routine audits, nothing serious. But if the FBI starts looking at me, at us, at our life, it could complicate things. I don't understand, Elena said. Which was partially true. She understood more than she should, but she needed him to explain, to incriminate himself. My company moves a lot of money, Garrett said carefully. International deals, complex transactions. To people who don't understand, it might look suspicious. Is it suspicious? Elena asked. Wrong question. She saw his face change, saw the anger flicker. Are you questioning me? His voice went cold. No. Elena backed up. No, I don't understand business. You know that. I'm just trying to understand so I can help. He studied her, long enough that Elena thought she'd blown it, thought he saw through her, thought the watch on her wrist might as well be blinking neon saying recording. But then he softened. You're right, you don't understand business. And that's okay. That's not your job. Your job is to be my wife, to support me, to keep our home, to have our baby. I know, Elena's voice was small. I'm sorry. Come here. Garrett pulled her close, careful of her broken arm, his hand in her hair, his lips against her temple. Anyone watching would think it was affection. Elena felt it as ownership, dominance, control. If anyone asks you questions about me, about my business, about anything, you don't know, you don't remember, you're just a pregnant housewife. Okay? Okay, Elena whispered. Good girl. He kissed her forehead, released her, sat back down. You can go. I have work to do. Elena left, closed the door, stood in the hallway, shaking. That had been close, too close. But she'd gotten something in. He'd admitted his business was under scrutiny, admitted the transactions might look suspicious. Not a full confession, but a piece, a thread. She went back downstairs, back to the couch, picked up her phone, opened the app. He knows about FBI interest, said his business is under routine audit, said transactions might look suspicious to people who don't understand. He warned me not to talk about him or his business if anyone asked questions. She sent the message, watched it disappear from her screen, hoped Marcus received it, hoped it was useful. Her phone buzzed. Different number. Noah. How are you? Are you safe? Elena typed back. I'm okay. He's being careful, but tense. He knows FBI is watching. Do you want me to come over? I can say I'm checking on you. Elena considered it. Having Noah here would feel safer, but it might also make Garrett suspicious, defensive, more watchful. Not yet. Let me feel things out. I'll let you know. I'm 5 minutes away if you need me. Say Eagle Point and I'm there. I know, thank you. Elena set the phone down, closed her eyes. The baby was kicking, strong, insistent, like she was trying to communicate, trying to say something. I'm doing this for you, Elena thought, so you never have to know this fear, so you never have to learn that love means pain, so you can grow up free. That night, Garrett made dinner, an elaborate meal, trying, making amends. The cycle was predictable. Violence, remorse, romance, claim, tension, violence again, round and round. They ate at the dining table, the formal one. Candles, wine for him, water for her, playing house, playing normal. I've been thinking about names, Garrett said, for the baby. Elena had been thinking about names too, but Garrett hadn't asked her opinion, hadn't included her in any decisions. The baby was his. The pregnancy was his. Elena was just the vessel. Victoria, Garrett said, if it's a girl, after my grandmother, Victoria Hartford. It's strong, classic. Elena hated it, hated that he was naming their daughter after his family, claiming her before she was even born. What if, Elena's voice was tentative, what if we used a name from my family too, as a middle name? Garrett's fork paused halfway to his mouth. What name? Marie, my mother's name. Elena's mother had died 5 years ago, cancer. Garrett had been. He'd been different then, supportive, kind, or maybe she'd just been too grief-stricken to notice the warning signs, to see the control starting. Victoria Marie Hartford. Garrett tested it. I suppose that's acceptable, as long as Victoria is first, as long as he got to choose, as long as his family came first, as long as Elena's contribution was secondary, optional, acceptable only with his approval. Thank you, Elena said. After dinner, Garrett went back to his office. Elena cleaned up, loaded the dishwasher, wiped down counters, did everything exactly the way he liked, because perfection meant peace. Perfection meant safety. She was drying dishes when she heard it. Garrett's voice, loud, angry, on the phone. I don't care about the timeline. I need the money moved. Now. Elena froze. Listened. No, not that account. The other one, the offshore one. A pause. Because the feds are sniffing around, because my wife ended up in the hospital and now they think I'm some kind of criminal. Elena moved closer to the stairs. The watch on her wrist was recording. She needed to hear more, needed to get this clear. Just move the money, clean it through the usual channels. I'll deal with the audit, but I need those accounts empty before they get a warrant. Garrett was quiet, listening to whoever was on the other end. I trust you to handle it. That's what I pay you for. His voice was cold, businesslike. And if there's any blowback, any problems, you don't know me, we never met. Understand? More silence. Good. Do it tonight. I want confirmation by morning. Elena heard him hang up, heard his chair squeak as he stood. She quickly moved back to the kitchen, picked up a dish, looked busy. Garrett came downstairs, poured himself a scotch, drank it in 2 swallows, poured another. Everything okay? Elena asked carefully. Fine. His voice was clipped. Just business problems. He turned, looked at her, really looked at her. His eyes scanned her, assessing, calculating. Why are you wearing that watch? He pointed to her wrist. Elena's blood went cold. The hospital gave it to me to track my heart rate because of the stress and the pregnancy. It wasn't a complete lie. The hospital had said to monitor herself. The watch did track heart rate, just. It also recorded audio. Garrett approached, took her wrist, examined the watch. Elena held her breath. If he looked too closely, if he tried to access it, if he discovered what it really was. Seems expensive for a hospital to give away, Garrett said. I think it's on loan. I have to return it at my next appointment. Elena improvised, praying he believed her. He held her wrist a moment longer, then released it. Make sure you do. We don't need to be charged for it. I will. Elena's voice was steady somehow, despite the terror. Garrett drank his second scotch, poured a third. He was stressed, drinking more than usual. That was good and bad. Good because he was worried, off balance. Bad because alcohol made him meaner, more volatile. I'm going to bed, Elena said. I'm exhausted. I'll be up soon. Garrett didn't look at her, just stared at his glass. Elena climbed the stairs. Her legs felt like water. She'd gotten through it, gotten the phone call recorded and gotten evidence of Garrett trying to move money, hide assets, obstruct justice. It was enough. It had to be enough. In the bedroom, she opened the app, typed a message to Marcus. He's moving money tonight. Called someone. Told them to clean it through usual channels. Empty offshore accounts before FBI gets warrant. Said if there's problems, they never met. He doesn't know them. She hit send. Waited. The message disappeared. A response came through. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed. Stay safe 1 more day, maybe 2. Then we move. 1 more day. Elena could survive 1 more day. She changed into pajamas, lay down in bed, the same bed she'd shared with Garrett for 3 years, the bed that had become a battlefield, where she fought invisible wars every night. The baby kicked. Elena rested her hand on her belly, made soothing circles. Almost over, she whispered. Almost free. She closed her eyes, tried to sleep, tried not to think about what would happen if Garrett discovered the truth, if he found the watch, if he realized she was working against him. Tried not to think about how much danger she was really in, but danger was relative. She'd been in danger for years. At least now she was doing something about it. At least now she was fighting back. Elena woke to an empty bed, the space next to her cold. Garrett hadn't come to bed last night, or if he had, he'd already left. She checked the time, 6:32 in the morning. She could hear him downstairs, on the phone again, his voice low, tense. Elena got up carefully, her arm ached. The pain medication was wearing off, she needed more. But first she needed to listen. She crept to the top of the stairs. Garrett was in the kitchen. She could see him through the banister, pacing, phone pressed to his ear. I understand the risk, but I'm telling you, it needs to be done. His voice was sharp, impatient. Today, before close of business, all of it. Elena sat on the top step. The watch was recording. She hoped the audio was clear enough. Hoped Marcus was already listening, already moving. I don't care about the fees. I don't care about the paperwork. Just make it happen. Garrett ran his hand through his hair, a gesture she recognized. Stress, anger barely contained. And find out who talked. Someone must have tipped off the feds. People don't just randomly audit someone like me. Someone talked. Elena's stomach twisted. He thought there was a leak, someone betraying him. If he even suspected it was her. Check everyone, every employee, every contractor, Wait! Garrett stopped pacing. The hospital, that doctor, the one who called the cops. What was her name? No, don't go after Dr. Mitchell. Find out who she talked to, who she reported to if she's the source. Garrett's voice went cold, dangerous. Then we handle it, quietly. Elena's hands shook. Handle it quietly. She knew what that meant. Threats, intimidation, maybe worse, she needed to warn Marcus. Warn Dr. Mitchell, but she couldn't move. Couldn't risk Garrett hearing her. She stayed frozen, listening, recording. I have to go, Garrett said suddenly. My wife is awake. I'll call you later. From the secure line. Elena heard him hang up, heard footsteps. She quickly stood, moved toward the bathroom, acting like she'd just woken up. Just walked out of the bedroom. Morning. Garrett's voice came from behind her. She turned. He was at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at her. How did you sleep? Okay. Elena rubbed her eyes, played tired. My arm hurts, though. I'll get your medication. Garrett started up the stairs. You should eat something, too, for the baby. He was being nice again, attentive, but Elena could see the tension in his shoulders, the tightness around his eyes. He was scared, worried, and scared Garrett was the most dangerous Garrett. In the bathroom, Elena opened the app, typed quickly while running water so it sounded like she was washing her face. He's investigating who tipped FBI. Suspect's hospital doctor. Said to handle it quietly. Might threaten Dr. Mitchell. Moving all money today. Before close of business. She sent it, deleted the evidence, closed the app. When she came out, Garrett was there, holding her medication. A glass of water, watching her with those calculating eyes. You seem nervous, he said. Not a question, an observation. I'm not. Elena took the pills, swallowed them. Just sore and worried about the baby. The baby is fine. Garrett touched her belly. Elena forced herself not to recoil. Strong heartbeat, good size. Dr. Chen said everything looks perfect. Dr. Chen, Elena's obstetrician, a kind older woman who asked too many questions, who looked concerned when Elena came in with bruises, who Garrett now insisted on accompanying to every appointment. When's your next checkup? Garrett asked. Next week, Tuesday. I'll clear my schedule. I'm coming with you. It wasn't a question. You don't have to, Elena said automatically. I know you're busy. I want to. His hand was still on her belly, claiming, possessing. I should be there. I've missed too many appointments. He'd missed them because she'd gone alone, because those appointments were her only freedom, her only time outside the house without him, her only chance to breathe. And now he was taking that away too. They went downstairs. Garrett made breakfast, eggs, toast, fruit, perfect. Like everything he did, perfect on the outside, rotten underneath. I need to go to thy office today, Garrett said. Some contracts to sign, meetings I can't reschedule. Will you be okay here alone? Alone. The words sang through Elena's mind. Time alone meant opportunity, meant she could search the house, look for documents, find evidence. I'll be fine. Elena kept her voice neutral, not too eager. I'll probably just rest. Maybe work on the nursery a little. The nursery can wait, Garrett said. You should rest. Doctor's orders. Doctor's orders to monitor, not to stay bedridden. But Elena didn't argue. Never argue. Arguments meant conflict. Conflict meant violence. Garrett finished eating, kissed her forehead. I'll be back by 3. Call me if you need anything. Anything at all. Translation, don't leave, don't talk to anyone, don't do anything without permission. I will, Elena promised. He left. The door closed, the automatic lock engaged. Elena heard his car start, heard it pull out of the driveway, heard the gate close behind him. Silence. Elena sat very still, listening, making sure he was really gone. Sometimes he came back, pretended to leave but circled back, testing her, checking if she followed the rules. 5 minutes passed. 10, 15. Her phone buzzed. The app. Marcus. He's gone. We're tracking his location. You have approximately 4 hours. Focus on his office. Look for files related to accounts, transactions, properties. Photograph anything that mentions offshore, wire transfers, or the names Carlos, Victor, or Rodriguez. 4 hours. Elena could do a lot in 4 hours. She went upstairs. To the office, the door was locked. Of course it was locked, but Elena had learned something living with a controlling man. She'd learned to be resourceful, to pay attention, to find ways around obstacles. She went to the bedroom, to Garrett's dresser, opened the top drawer where he kept his watch collection, expensive watches in felt-lined boxes. Beneath them, a small dish, cufflinks, tie clips, keys. Elena had seen him put the office key there. Months ago, he thought she wasn't paying attention, thought she was just a dumb, pregnant wife who didn't notice things, but Elena noticed everything. Noticing was survival. She took the key, hands shaking. This was it. This was crossing a line. If he found out, if he discovered she'd been in his office without permission. Stop. Don't think about that. Just move. Elena unlocked the office door, stepped inside. The room smelled like him. Cologne and scotch and paper. The scent of control. She went to the desk, 4 drawers. She started with the top one. Files. So many files. She didn't know where to start, what to look for. She pulled out her phone, started photographing, page after page, document after document, property deeds, purchase agreements, wire transfer receipts. Her arm ached from holding the phone, but she kept going, kept clicking, kept gathering evidence. The second drawer, more of the same. But then a folder marked offshore. Elena opened it. Bank statements, accounts in the Cayman Islands, numbers that made her head spin. Millions of dollars, tens of millions, in accounts she'd never known existed. She photographed every page, her heart pounding. This was it. This was what Marcus needed. The third drawer, locked. Elena tried the same key. It didn't fit. Different lock. Damn, she looked around, searching for another key, but there was nothing obvious. No hidden key under a paperweight, no taped key under the desk. Think. Where would Garrett hide a second key? The bookshelf. He had a collection of first editions, books he never read but displayed for show. Elena started checking them, opening covers, feeling for hidden compartments. On the third shelf, a copy of Atlas Shrugged, Garrett's favorite, because of course it was. Ayn Rand and her philosophy of selfishness dressed up as virtue. Elena opened it. The pages were hollowed out. Inside, a small key. She tried it in the third drawer. It opened. Inside, a gun, a Glock 9mm, loaded. Elena stared at it. She'd never seen Garrett with a gun, didn't know he owned one. The sight of it made her stomach turn. Beneath the gun, another folder. This one marked insurance. Elena opened it, and her blood went cold. Photos of her, sleeping, undressed, vulnerable. Photos she'd never known he was taking. Invading her privacy in the most intimate way, and beneath the photos, documents, a prenuptial agreement she'd never signed, a life insurance policy, with her as the insured, Garrett as the beneficiary, $2 million. $2 million if she died. Elena felt like the room was spinning. This wasn't just control. This wasn't just abuse. This was planning, premeditation. He'd taken out a life insurance policy without her knowledge, without her consent, had forged her signature. He was planning to kill her. Maybe not now, maybe not soon, but the pieces were there, the motive, the means, the opportunity. She photographed everything, hands shaking so badly she had to retake several shots. Made sure every detail was clear, every signature visible. Then she put everything back, exactly as it was, locked the drawer, returned the key to the book, left the office, locked the door behind her. She went downstairs, made it to the living room. sat on the couch, and broke down. Silent sobs, gasping, her whole body shaking. The adrenaline crash was devastating. The fear, the anger, the betrayal. Her phone buzzed. Marcus. Are you okay? Your heart rate spiked. Do you need extraction? Elena tried to type. Her hands wouldn't cooperate. She tried again. Found evidence. So much evidence, but also life insurance policy. 2 million. He forged my signature. I think, I think he's planning to kill me. She sent it, then added, and there's a gun in his desk, loaded. The response came immediately. We're moving the timeline up. Pack a bag, small, essential items only. Hide it. Tonight we're getting you out. Tonight, Elena closed her eyes, relief mixed with terror. Tonight she'd leave. Tonight she'd be free. Or tonight she'd die trying. She went to the bedroom, found a small duffel bag, packed carefully. Clothes, toiletries, her mother's jewelry, the one thing of value she still owned that Garrett hadn't taken. Documents, birth certificate, social security card, medical records. She hid the bag at the back of the nursery closet, behind baby supplies they hadn't used yet, behind the curtain of future, the life she'd hoped to have. Then she waited, watching the clock, watching her phone, watching for Garrett's return. He came home at 3:15, later than promised. He was angry. She could see it in the set of his jaw, the way he slammed his briefcase down. How was your day? Elena asked carefully. Fine. He didn't look at her. Went straight to the liquor cabinet, poured a drink, drank it, poured another. Are you hungry? I can make dinner. I'm not hungry. Garrett's voice was tight, controlled, the voice that meant danger. I need to work. Don't disturb me. He went upstairs, to the office. Elena heard the door close. Lock. She sat very still, waiting, praying he wouldn't notice anything out of place, wouldn't realize she'd been there. An hour passed, 2. Elena made dinner anyway, a routine, something normal to do, something to keep her hands busy. At 7, her phone rang. Not Marcus. Noah. Hey. His voice was warm, normal. Just checking in. How are you feeling? Better. Elena glanced at the stairs. Resting mostly. That's good. Listen, I have the day off tomorrow. Want me to come by, bring lunch, keep you company? Tomorrow, but tomorrow she might not be here. Tomorrow she might be in protective custody, or she might be dead, depending on how tonight went. Maybe, Elena said. Can I let you know? Of course, Elena. Noah's voice dropped. Are you safe? Right now, are you safe? Yes, Elena said. I'm safe. Okay, but if that changes, you know what to say. Eagle Point, Elena whispered. Eagle Point. Noah confirmed. Love you, little sister. Love you too. She hung up, set the phone down, noticed her hands were shaking. At 8, Garrett came down, calmer. The alcohol had smoothed his edges, made him dangerous in a different way. Drunk Garrett was unpredictable. You never knew which version you'd get, sweet drunk or mean drunk. Sorry, he said, sat next to her on the couch. Bad day at work. Took it out on you. That wasn't fair. Here it was, the apology, the remorse, the part of the cycle where he pretended to be human. It's okay, Elena said softly. I understand. You're so good to me. Garrett pulled her close. So patient, so understanding. I don't deserve you. True, he didn't deserve her. Didn't deserve anyone. Deserved to be in prison, alone forever. But Elena just leaned into him, played the role, counted down the hours until midnight, until extraction, until freedom. I love you, Garrett murmured into her hair. And Elena, for the first time, didn't say it back. She just closed her eyes and thought about her daughter, about the future, about survival. She thought about hope, and hope, Elena was learning, was the most powerful weapon she had. Garrett fell asleep around 11. Heavy sleep brought on by too much alcohol. Elena lay perfectly still beside him, counting his breaths, making sure he was really out. At 11:45, her phone vibrated, silent. The screen glowed in the darkness. Marcus. Team in position, ready when you are. Elena slipped out of bed, moving like a ghost. She'd practiced this. Practice being invisible, being silent, years of practice. She went to the nursery, retrieved the duffel bag from its hiding place, held it close. One last thing. Elena went back to the office, used the key one final time. She needed one more piece of evidence. The gun. If Garrett woke up during the extraction, if he realized what was happening, he'd go for his gun. She needed to make sure it wasn't there. She opened the locked drawer, carefully removed the Glock. It was heavier than she expected. Cold. Deadly. Elena had never held a gun before. Never wanted to. But now, holding this weapon that might have been used to kill her, she felt a strange sense of power. She put it in her bag, locked everything else, left the office. 12:03, time to go. Elena walked down the stairs, each step careful, each movement deliberate. The front door had an alarm, but she knew the code. She'd had to. For emergencies. For the rare times Garrett allowed her to leave. She disarmed it, opened the door, stepped outside. The night air hit her face. Cool. Fresh. Freedom tasted like possibility. A black SUV was parked at the curb, lights off, waiting. Elena walked toward it. Her legs felt disconnected from her body, like she was floating. The back door opened. Marcus was there. "Get in, quickly!" Elena climbed in. The door closed. The vehicle started moving immediately. Smooth. Professional. They turned the corner. Left the neighborhood. Left the house. Left Garrett. "You did it." Marcus's voice was warm, proud. "You actually did it." Elena couldn't speak. Couldn't process. She just stared out the window. Watched the streets pass. Familiar neighborhoods becoming unfamiliar. Distance creating safety. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "Safe house, about 20 minutes away. You'll stay there until we make the arrest." "When?" "Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. We have enough evidence now. The photos you sent, the offshore accounts, the insurance policy, combined with the recorded conversations about moving money, obstructing justice, we have him." Elena nodded numbly. Tomorrow, Garrett would be arrested. Tomorrow, everything would change. "How are you feeling?" Marcus asked gently. "I don't know." Elena looked down at her hands, at the watch still on her wrist, still recording. "I keep expecting to wake up, for this to be a dream." "It's real," Marcus assured her. "You're really out. You're really safe." Safe. The word felt foreign. Elena wasn't sure she remembered what safe felt like. The safe house was a modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood. FBI agents were already there, setting up security, making sure no one could find her. Marcus led her inside, showed her around. Kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathroom, simple, clean, secure. "You'll have protection 24/7. Agents outside, monitoring. If you need anything, just ask." Marcus showed her how to use the security system, the panic button, the communication device. "Try to get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be a long day." After he left, Elena stood in the living room, just stood there, processing. She'd done it. She'd actually done it. She'd gathered evidence, escaped, survived. But the cost was everything. Her marriage, her home, her life as she knew it, gone, burned to the ground, and she wasn't sure what would rise from the ashes. Lena went to the bedroom, lay down on the unfamiliar bed, closed her eyes, tried to sleep. But her mind wouldn't quiet, kept replaying moments, kept analyzing, kept second-guessing. What if she'd missed something? What if Garrett woke up? What if he realized she was gone? What if he came looking? Her phone buzzed. "Noah. Marcus told me, you're out. You're safe, thank God." Elena called him back, needed to hear his voice. "I can't believe I did it." Her voice shook. "I actually left." "I'm so proud of you," Noah said, his voice thick with emotion. "So incredibly proud." "He's going to be so angry," Elena whispered. "When he wakes up, when he realizes, Noah, he's going to be furious." "Let him be angry. He can be angry in a jail cell," Noah said firmly. "He can't hurt you anymore. That's over. That part of your life is over." Over, was it? Or was this just the beginning of a different kind of nightmare? They talked for an hour. About nothing, about everything, about childhood memories, about their parents, about the future, about hope. Finally, Elena felt tired enough to sleep. She hung up, set her phone on the nightstand, and closed her eyes. For the first time in years, Elena slept without fear. Deep, dreamless, safe. She woke to pounding on the door, shouting, agents moving quickly. Something was wrong. Marcus burst in. "We need to move now." "What's happening?" Elena struggled to wake fully. "Garrett." He woke up, realized you were gone. "He's looking for you." Marcus was already gathering her things. "We picked up his phone calls. He's making threats, calling everyone, trying to find you. We're moving up the arrest. Team's already en route to his location." Elena's heart pounded. "Is he coming here?" "We don't think he knows where you are, but we're not taking chances." Marcus guided her out of the bedroom. Two more agents were there, armed, alert. "We're taking you to a secondary location. More secure." They moved quickly, down to the parking garage. Different vehicle this time. Armored, serious. Elena's phone rang. "Garrett." She stared at the screen. "Don't answer," Marcus said. But Elena needed to hear his voice, needed to know what she was dealing with. She answered, put it on speaker. "Where are you?" Garrett's voice was ice, fury, rage barely contained. "Where the fuck are you, Elena?" "I left." Her voice was surprisingly steady. "I left you, Garrett." "You left me?" He laughed. No humor, just hatred. "You don't leave me. I own you. Do you understand? You're my wife, my property, mine." "I'm not your property," Elena said, and saying it out loud felt revolutionary, powerful. "I'm a person, and I'm done being afraid of you." "You should be afraid." Garrett's voice dropped, deadly. "You should be very afraid, because when I find you, and I will find you, you're going to wish you'd never been born. You and that bastard child you're carrying," Marcus signaled. "Cut it off," but Elena needed to say one more thing. "Goodbye, Garrett," she said. "I hope you rot in hell." She hung up, blocked the number, looked at Marcus. "Did you get that?" Every word. Marcus had been recording. "Threats of violence, omission of ownership. That's felony stalking, terroristic threats. We've got him." The vehicle stopped, but not at another safe house, at Metro General Hospital. "Why are we here?" Elena asked. "You're going into labor," Marcus said gently. Elena looked down. Her water had broken. She hadn't even noticed. Too much adrenaline, too much fear. But now she felt it. The tightness in her belly, the pressure, the pain. "No," Elena shook her head. "Not now, not yet. I'm only 34 weeks. Sometimes stress triggers early labor." Marcus helped her out of the vehicle. "But you're here, you're safe, the baby will be okay." Dr. Mitchell was waiting. She'd been alerted, was prepared. "Elena, let's get you inside, get you checked out." Everything moved quickly after that. Labor and delivery, monitors, IVs, doctors, nurses, and pain. So much pain, but different from Garrett's pain. This pain had purpose, had meaning. This pain was bringing life, not death. Noah arrived, breathless, worried. "I came as soon as I heard." He took her hand, like he'd done in the x-ray room days ago. Present, supportive, family. "Garrett?" Elena gasped between contractions. "Being arrested right now." Marcus stood in the doorway. Team just confirmed. They found him at the house, armed, resisting. "But he's in custody." "It's over, Elena. He's not coming after you." Over, the word washed through her like a wave. Relief so intense she cried. "You did this." Noah squeezed her hand. "You saved yourself. You saved your daughter. You're a hero." Elena didn't feel like a hero. She felt like a survivor. Barely. She felt broken, traumatized, terrified of what came next. But she also felt something else. Something small but growing. Hope. Labor progressed, 8 hours, intense, difficult, but Dr. Mitchell was there. Coaching, supporting, and Noah. Noah never left her side. At 2:17 p.m., Sophie Marie Hartford entered the world. 6 pounds, 4 ounces, Amy, perfect, alive. Elena held her daughter, looked at her face, and burst into tears. I'm sorry, she whispered to Sophie. I'm so sorry you had to go through this, that you had to feel my fear, my stress. But we're safe now, I promise, we're safe. Sophie opened her eyes, dark blue, unfocused, but looking at her mother, trusting her, depending on her. I won't let anyone hurt you, Elena promised. Never. I'll protect you. I'll teach you to be strong, to recognize danger, to never accept less than you deserve. She looked at Noah, at his tears, his joy, at Marcus standing in the doorway, professional but moved, at Dr. Mitchell checking vitals, making sure they were both okay, at the team of people who'd helped her, who'd believed her, who'd fought for her. Thank you, Elena said, to all of them, to the universe, to whatever force had given her strength. Thank you. Outside, the sun was shining, a beautiful day, a new beginning. And somewhere across the city, Garrett Hartford sat in a jail cell, powerless, contained, locked away. Justice wasn't complete. The trial was months away, the legal battles just beginning. But for now, in this moment, Elena was free. And freedom felt like everything. The hospital room was quiet except for Sophie's soft breathing. Elena held her daughter close, skin to skin, feeling her tiny heartbeat, counting her impossibly small fingers and toes, making sure everything was perfect, making sure she was real. 3 days old. Sophie was 3 days old, and Garrett had been in custody for 3 days. 3 days of peace, of safety, of sleep that wasn't interrupted by fear. Noah had barely left. He'd taken emergency leave from work, set up camp in the chair by Elena's bed, bringing her food, helping with the baby, just being present. You should go home, Elena told him. Get real rest. I'm okay. I'm not leaving, Noah said firmly. Not until you're discharged. Not until you're settled somewhere permanent. Somewhere permanent? Elena didn't know where that was yet. The house was a crime scene, being searched, cataloged, evidence gathered. She couldn't go back even if she wanted to, which she didn't. Ever. Marcus visited that afternoon, brought updates. The arraignment is tomorrow. He's being charged with assault, domestic violence, money laundering, racketeering, tax fraud, obstruction of justice, terroristic threats, and attempted murder. Attempted murder? Elena's voice was sharp. How? The life insurance policy, the forged signature. Our prosecutors believe he was planning to kill you, make it look like an accident, collect the money. The pregnancy gave him a timeline. Once the baby was born, you were expendable. Lena felt sick. She'd suspected, but hearing it confirmed, hearing that her husband, the father of her child, had been planning her murder. Will he get bail? Elena asked. We're fighting it, but he has resources, good lawyers. It's possible. Marcus's face was serious. If he does make bail, you'll have full protection, restraining order, monitoring. But Elena, you need to be prepared. He might get out. I understand. Elena looked at Sophie, at her daughter sleeping peacefully, unaware of the violence, the danger, the evil that had surrounded her conception. What happens to me? To us? Where do we go? That's your choice, Marcus said. We can put you in witness protection, new identity, new location, complete break from your old life, or you can stay here. Fight the case publicly. Either way, we protect you. Witness protection meant disappearing, meant Noah couldn't find her, meant losing everyone, starting over with nothing. But staying meant visibility, meant Garrett knowing where she was, meant risk. Can I think about it? Elena asked. Of course, you have time. The trial won't happen for months, maybe a year. Marcus stood to leave. One more thing. His mother, Patricia, she's been calling, wants to see you, says she wants to apologize, to meet her grandchild. No, Elena's voice was hard. Absolutely not. I figured, but I had to ask. Marcus nodded. Get some rest. I'll be back tomorrow with more updates. After he left, Elena just sat, processing. Her whole life had changed in a week, from trapped wife to free woman, from silent victim to active witness, from scared to what? Was she still scared? Yes, but differently. The immediate fear was gone. Garrett couldn't burst through the door. couldn't hurt her, couldn't twist her arm or burn her skin or break her down word by word. But the aftermath, the trauma, that was still there, still raw, still painful. Dr. Mitchell came for evening rounds, checked Elena's incision. The C-section had been necessary. Sophie was breech. Everything had happened so fast. Emergency surgery, but both were healthy. Both were healing. "How are you really?" Dr. Mitchell asked. Not the medical question, the real question. "I don't know," Elena admitted. "Part of me feels free, relieved, but another part feels broken, like I'm never going to be normal again." "Normal is overrated." Dr. Mitchell sat down. "And you're not broken. You're healing. There's a difference. It doesn't feel like it." "It will eventually," Dr. Mitchell said. "I want you to consider therapy, PTSD therapy, trauma-informed care, what you went through, what he did to you. That leaves scars, not just physical, mental, emotional. You need help processing that." Elena nodded. She knew Dr. Mitchell was right, but the idea of therapy, of talking about what happened, of reliving it, that felt impossible. "Start small," Dr. Mitchell said. "Just meet with someone, see if it helps. You don't have to commit to anything, just try. "Okay," Elena agreed. "I'll try." That night, Sophie woke crying, hungry. Elena lifted her, started nursing. The sensation was strange, intimate, painful, beautiful. "I don't know how to do this," Elena whispered to her daughter. "I don't know how to be your mom, how to protect you, how to teach you, how to keep you safe when I couldn't even keep myself safe." Sophie just nursed, trusting, depending, needing. "But I'll figure it out," Elena promised. "I'll learn. I'll do better. You deserve better." A knock on the door. Rachel, Elena's best friend, the one Garrett had cut off, the one Elena hadn't seen in 2 years. "Can I come in?" Rachel's voice was tentative. "Noah called me, told me everything. I had to see you." "Rachel," Elena's voice broke. "Oh my God, Rachel." Rachel rushed in, hugged her carefully, mindful of the baby, of Elena's injuries. They both cried. 2 years of separation, 2 years of missing each other, 2 years of forced distance. "I'm so sorry," Rachel said. I tried. I tried to reach you. He blocked me, told me you didn't want to see me, said you'd moved on, made new friends." I know he lied." Elena pulled back. "I wanted to call you so many times, but I couldn't. He monitored everything. I should have tried harder." Rachel wiped her eyes. "Should have shown up, refused to leave. But I thought maybe you really didn't want me around. That maybe our friendship had run its course." "Never," Elena said fiercely. "You were my best friend. You still are. He stole that from us, but he can't anymore." Rachel looked at Sophie, at the tiny baby. "Can I hold her?" Elena carefully transferred Sophie, watched Rachel's face fill with wonder, with joy. "She's perfect," Rachel whispered. "Absolutely perfect." "Her name is Sophie Marie," Elena said, "after my mom." "She would have loved that," Rachel said. Elena's mother and Rachel had been close. Elena's mom had joked that Rachel was the daughter she never had. "She would have been so proud of you, of how strong you've been." Strong, everyone kept saying that, but Elena didn't feel strong. She felt like she'd barely survived, like she'd gotten lucky, like one wrong move, and she'd be dead. "I don't feel strong," Elena admitted. "I feel scared, and I'm angry, and so tired." "That's normal," Rachel said. "After trauma, after abuse, you're allowed to feel all of that, but you're still here, still fighting. That's strength, even if it doesn't feel like it." They talked for hours, catching up, sharing stories, laughing, crying, reconnecting, healing. When Rachel finally left, promising to visit again tomorrow, Elena felt lighter, less alone, less isolated. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was a survivor, a mother, a friend, a sister, a whole person, not just Garrett's wife, not just his property. Elena, just Elena. The days passed in a blur. Hospital routine, feedings, diaper changes, visits from Noah and Rachel, Updates from Marcus, physical healing, emotional processing. And slowly, very slowly, Elena started to believe she might be okay. On day 5, Dr. Mitchell discharged them. You're healing well. Sophie is thriving. You're ready to go home. But home was the question. Where was home now? Marcus had arranged a temporary apartment, furnished, secure, in a building with controlled access, not permanent, but safe, a place to figure things out. Noah drove them there, helped carry the bags, set up the crib, made sure everything was ready. I'm 5 minutes away, he reminded Elena. Anytime, day or night, you call, I'm here. I know, Elena hugged him. Thank you for everything, for believing me, for fighting for me, for being my brother. Always, Noah kissed her forehead. Always. After he left, Elena was alone, really alone, with Sophie, in this new space, this new life. She walked through the apartment. Small, 2-bedroom, living room, kitchen, bathroom, basic, simple. But hers. She looked out the window. City lights, people walking, cars passing, normal life continuing. While hers had been shattered and rebuilt. Sophie started crying. Elena went to her, picked her up, rocked her gently. It's okay, she murmured. We're okay. We're home, whatever that means now. We're home. That night, Elena put Sophie in the crib, watched her sleep, then went to her own bed, lay down, closed her eyes, and for the first time in years, Elena felt peace, not happiness, not yet, but peace, the absence of fear, the absence of threat, the absence of Garrett. She fell asleep thinking about the future, about therapy, about healing, about teaching Sophie to be strong, to recognize her worth, to never accept abuse as love, about being free. And freedom, Elena was discovering, was more complex than she'd imagined. Not just physical, not just legal, but mental, emotional, spiritual. Freedom was learning who she was without Garrett's voice in her head, without his control shaping her choices, without his presence defining her existence. Freedom was terrifying, but freedom was also possibility. And for the first time in a very long time, Elena looked forward to tomorrow. 3 months passed, 3 months of healing, of therapy, of learning to be a mother, of learning to be herself again. Sophie was growing, thriving. Her eyes had changed from dark blue to hazel. She smiled now, real smiles, not just gas. She recognized Elena's voice, her scent, her face. Elena went to therapy twice a week. Dr. Lisa Chen, specialist in trauma and PTSD. They worked through it slowly. The abuse, the control, the systematic destruction of Elena's sense of self. You're doing remarkably well, Dr. Chen said in one session. Most survivors take years to process what you have experienced. You're months in and already showing significant progress. I don't feel like I'm making progress, Elena admitted. I still have nightmares, still panic when I hear certain sounds, still check the locks 5 times before bed. That's trauma response. That's normal, Dr. Chen said gently. Healing isn't linear. Some days will be better than others, but you're doing the work. That's what matters. The trial was set for November, 6 months after the arrest. The prosecutor, a woman named Diane Pearson, fierce, experienced, and determined to put Garrett away. I need to prepare you, Diane said at one of their meetings. The defense is going to attack you. They'll say you're lying, that you wanted his money, that you're bitter about the divorce. They'll bring up every mistake you've ever made, every imperfection. They'll try to make you look unreliable. I know, Elena said. She'd expected this. I'm ready. Was she? Ready to face Garrett in court, ready to tell her story publicly, ready to be cross-examined, questioned, doubted, no. She wasn't ready, but she was doing it anyway. The week before the trial, Elena practiced her testimony. Diane coaching her, Marcus providing feedback. Remember, Diane said, stick to the facts. Don't embellish, don't minimize, just tell the truth. The evidence speaks for itself. The photos, the medical records, the recordings. All you have to do is put it in context. What if I freeze? Elena asked. What if I get up there and can't speak? Then we take a break, Diane said. But I don't think that'll happen. You're stronger than you think. The trial started on a Monday, November 7th, cold, gray, appropriate weather for the ordeal ahead. Elena dressed carefully, conservative dress, minimal makeup. She wanted to look credible, sympathetic, like the victim she was. But she also wanted to look strong, capable, like a survivor. Noah and Rachel came with her, sat in the gallery, moral support, family, love. The courtroom was imposing, wood paneling, high ceilings, the American flag, the judge's bench, the jury box, and Garrett, sitting at the defense table, in a suit, clean cut, looking nothing like the monster he was. When he saw Elena, his face changed, rage, hatred, pure malice, but quickly masked, back to the calm businessman. That was his gift, the mask, the performance, making people believe he was good, normal, stable. But Elena knew the truth, had lived the truth, had the scars to prove it. The prosecutor's opening statement was powerful. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is a case about control, about abuse, about a man who systematically destroyed his wife, physically, emotionally, financially, who isolated her, terrorized her, and ultimately planned to kill her. The evidence will show, beyond any reasonable doubt, that Garrett Hartford is dangerous, criminal, and deserving of the maximum penalty under law. The defense countered. Predictable. This is a case about a bitter wife, a failed marriage, and false accusations. Ms. Hartford wanted her husband's money. When he refused to give it to her, she concocted these stories, manipulated evidence, and enlisted the FBI's help to destroy him. The truth, the real truth, will show that Garrett Hartford is innocent. Then came the witnesses. Dr. Mitchell first, testifying about Elena's injuries, about the pattern, about the mandated report. In my 18 years of practice, Dr. Mitchell said, I've seen many domestic violence cases. This was one of the worst. The systematic nature, the escalation, the planning. It was clear Mr. Hartford was not just abusing his wife, he was torturing her. The defense tried to shake her, questioned her judgment, her bias, but Dr. Mitchell was solid, professional, unshakable. Next, Noah, testifying about the X-ray, about recognizing his sister, about the spiral fracture. I knew immediately, Noah said. This wasn't a fall, this was assault. Someone had grabbed her arm and twisted it until it broke. The fracture pattern doesn't lie. Agent Marcus Bishop testified about the financial investigation, about the recorded conversations, about Elena's cooperation. Mrs. Hartford risked her life, Marcus said, went back into danger, wore a wire, gathered evidence. She's one of the bravest people I have ever worked with, and without her help, we wouldn't have been able to build this case. Day 3, Elena's turn. She walked to the stand, hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. She sat, faced the courtroom, faced Garrett, faced her fear. Diane started gently. Basic questions, name, age, background, then deeper. Tell us about your marriage to Garrett Hartford. Elena took a breath. It started well. He was charming, successful, attentive. Everything seemed perfect. Her voice was steady, strong. But after the wedding, things changed. He became controlling, jealous. He didn't want me working, didn't want me seeing friends, didn't want me having any independence. When did it become physical? 6 months after the wedding, and he pushed me. I got a bruise. He apologized, said it would never happen again. Elena continued, but it did, again and again, each time worse, each time with a new promise that he'd change, that he'd stop, but he never stopped. Tell us about October 15th, the day your arm was broken. Elena did, in detail, the doctor's appointment, the late dinner, the argument, the breaking, the hospital, the discovery. What were you thinking when your brother walked into that X-ray room? I thought this was it. The secret was out. Everything would change. Elena's voice broke. I was scared, terrified of what Garrett would do, but also relieved because someone finally knew, someone finally saw. Diane walked her through the evidence, the photos, the medical records, the FBI cooperation, the escape. Why did you agree to help the FBI? Because I was tired of being afraid, Elena said. Tired of being controlled, and because I was having a daughter, and I couldn't. I couldn't let her grow up thinking this was normal, that this was what love looked like. I had to be brave for her, even though I didn't feel brave. No further questions. Diane sat down. The defense attorney stood. Mr. Robert Chen, expensive suit, shark smile. Mrs. Hartford, or should I say Miss Bradford, since you've reverted to your maiden name. Elena is fine, she said. Elena, you claim my client abused you, controlled you, isolated you. But you stayed for 3 years. You stayed. Why? Because I was afraid. Afraid or comfortable? Comfortable in $1 million house, driving an $80,000 car, wearing designer clothes. Comfortable with the lifestyle his money provided? No, Elena's voice was firm. I would have traded all of that, every penny, every possession, for safety, for freedom. But you didn't trade it. You stayed. You enjoyed the benefits of his success. And only when he tried to divorce you. Only when you realized you'd lose access to his money. Then suddenly, conveniently, he's abusive? He didn't try to divorce me, Elena said. I found emails, plans he'd made, to divorce me after the baby was born, to claim I was mentally unstable, to take custody, to destroy me completely. That's when I realized how much danger I was in. The attorney pressed, questioned, tried to find inconsistencies, but Elena held firm, told the truth, didn't waver. Isn't it true you forged documents, stole from his office, violated his privacy? I gathered evidence, Elena corrected, with FBI authorization, to prove the money laundering, the financial crimes, the life insurance policy he took out without my knowledge. A policy you claim proves he wanted to kill you. Isn't it possible, just possible, that he was simply planning for the future, being responsible, with a forged signature? Elena's voice was cold. I never signed that policy. Never even knew it existed. And the amount, $2 million. That's not responsible planning. That's motive. The cross-examination lasted 3 hours. Exhausting, brutal. But Elena survived, told her story, maintained her credibility. When she finally stepped down, walked past Garrett, he leaned close, whispered so only she could hear. You're dead. You hear me? Dead. Elena stopped, turned, looked directly at him. Is that a threat, Mr. Hartford? In front of all these witnesses? The judge banged her gavel. Mr. Hartford, control yourself or you'll be held in contempt. Garrett sat back, masked his rage, but Elena had gotten what she needed. One more threat, one more piece of evidence, one more nail in his coffin. The trial lasted 2 weeks, witness after witness, evidence after evidence. The case building, overwhelming. Finally, closing arguments. Diane stood, addressed the jury. Members of the jury, you have heard the evidence, seen the photos, listened to the recordings. The pattern is clear. Garrett Hartford is a dangerous man, an abuser, a criminal. He hurt his pregnant wife, broke her arm, planned her murder, laundered money for drug cartels, obstructed justice. The only question is, will you hold him accountable? The defense countered. This is a case built on lies, on manipulation, on a scorned woman's revenge. There's reasonable doubt everywhere you look, in the gaps of her story, in the convenient timing, in her cooperation with the FBI. Don't let emotion cloud your judgment. Look at the facts, and you'll see. Garrett Hartford is innocent. The jury deliberated. 4 hours. Then the call came. Verdict reached. Everyone assembled. Elena, Noah, Rachel, Marcus, Diane, the legal teams, the judge, the jury. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On the charge of assault with intent to cause bodily harm, how do you find? Guilty. Elena's heart leaped. On the charge of domestic violence? Guilty. On the charge of money laundering? Guilty. Count after count. Guilty, guilty, guilty. 15 charges total. Guilty on 14. Not guilty on attempted murder. Not enough evidence. But everything else. Guilty. The judge set sentencing for 1 month later. Garrett was remanded into custody. No bail. Too dangerous. Too much risk. As they let him out in handcuffs, he turned, looked at Elena one last time, and she looked back, not with fear, not with satisfaction, but with something simpler. Relief. It was over. The trial, the testimony, the legal battle. Over. Justice. Imperfect. Incomplete. But justice nonetheless. Elena walked out of the courthouse, into the cold November air, Noah and Rachel on either side. And for the first time, she allowed herself to cry. Not tears of fear, not tears of pain, but tears of release, of relief, of survival. She'd done it, testified, confronted him, won. She'd survived, and more than survived. She'd fought back. "I'm proud of you," Noah said softly. "I'm proud of me too." Elena said, and meant it. 1 year later, November again. The seasons had come full circle. Elena stood in a small community center, in front of a group of women, all survivors, all warriors, all healing. "My name is Elena," she began, "and I'm a domestic violence survivor." The words came easier now, after a year of therapy, a year of processing, a year of rebuilding. "When I left my abuser, I thought freedom would feel immediate, like flipping a switch, dark to light. But it wasn't like that." Elena continued. "Freedom is a process, a journey. Some days I feel strong, capable, ready to take on the world. Other days, I'm back in that house, feeling small, feeling scared, feeling like I'll never really escape." The women nodded, understanding, recognition. But those days, the hard days, they're getting less frequent. The good days are winning, and that's what matters. Elena smiled. "Today, I want to tell you about hope, real hope, not the toxic hope that keeps you in danger. The hope that says maybe he'll change, but actual hope. The hope that says I can survive this, I can heal, I can be whole again." She told her story, abbreviated, focused on the journey, the escape, the trial, the aftermath. Garrett Hartford was sentenced to 15 years in prison. No parole eligibility for at least 10 years. He's where he belongs. "And I'm free," Elena said. "But freedom isn't just about him being locked up. Freedom is about reclaiming myself, remembering who I was before him, discovering who I am after." After the meeting, women approached her, shared their stories, asked questions, sought advice. One woman, younger, maybe 25, pulled Elena aside. "I just left 2 weeks ago and I'm terrified. Did you ever want to go back?" Elena was honest. "Yes, in the beginning, when everything was overwhelming, when I didn't know how to survive on my own. There were moments when I thought maybe I should just go back. At least I knew what to expect there." "What stopped you?" "My daughter," Elena said simply. "I looked at her, at this tiny perfect person, and I thought, what kind of example would I be setting? What would I be teaching her about love, about strength, about self-worth? And I knew I couldn't go back. Not for me, but definitely not for her." The woman nodded. "Thank you for being honest, for sharing your story. It helps. Knowing I'm not alone." "You're not alone," Elena assured her. "None of us are. We're survivors, and we survive together." Later, Elena drove to Noah's apartment for dinner. He'd invited her and Sophie every week, a tradition they'd established. Family night. "How was the support group?" Noah asked while setting the table. "Good, hard, but good." Elena adjusted Sophie in her high chair. 1 year old now, saying words, taking steps, growing into a tiny person with opinions and preferences. "I think I'm helping. I hope I am." "You are," Noah said with certainty. "You're living proof that escape is possible, that survival is possible, that healing is possible." Rachel arrived, bringing dessert, and her new girlfriend, Maya, whom Elena adored. They ate together, talked, laughed, shared stories, normal things, Family things, safe things. I have news, Elena said as they finished eating. I got a job. Really? Rachel's face lit up. Where? Domestic violence advocacy organization, marketing and communications. Elena smiled. Using my old skills. For something that matters. Something that helps. That's perfect, Noah said. Absolutely perfect. Start next month. They're flexible with hours, understanding about childcare, about triggers, about bad days. Elena felt excited, nervous, but mostly excited. I'm ready. Ready to do something, to contribute, to be more than just a victim. You were never just a victim, Rachel said firmly. You were always more. You just had to remember that. After dinner, after Sophie fell asleep on Noah's couch, after the comfortable silence of good company, Elena checked her phone, an email, from Patricia Hartford, Garrett's mother. She tried several times over the past year, wanting contact, wanting to apologize, wanting to meet Sophie. Elena had ignored them all, until tonight. Tonight she felt ready, not to forgive, but to respond. She typed carefully. Patricia, I've received your emails, all of them. I understand you want to apologize, want to meet your granddaughter, but I need you to understand something. Your son hurt me, systematically, for years. He isolated me, controlled me, broke my arm while I was pregnant, planned to kill me. And you knew. Maybe not everything, but you knew something was wrong. You saw the signs, and you did nothing. You enabled him, made excuses for him, chose him over the truth. So no, I don't want your apology, and no, you will not meet Sophie. Not now, maybe not ever. She doesn't need that toxicity in her life. Neither do I. Please stop contacting me, Elena. She hit send, blocked the email address, and felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, just closure. Some relationships couldn't be salvaged. Some people didn't deserve forgiveness. And that was okay. Elena didn't owe anyone anything. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, not access to her life. She owed herself healing, owed Sophie safety, owed their future protection. That night, after returning home, after putting Sophie to bed, Elena sat at her kitchen table. In front of her, an envelope, from prison, from Garrett. She'd received it a week ago, hadn't opened it, wasn't sure if she should. But tonight she felt strong enough. She opened it, read the single page, his handwriting, familiar, unsettling. Elena, I've had time to think, to reflect, to realize what I lost. I was sick. I needed help. I know that now. I hurt you. I hurt us. And I'm sorry. Truly sorry. I'm getting treatment here. Anger management. Therapy. I'm working on myself. Becoming better. The man you deserved from the beginning. I know you can't forgive me now. But maybe someday. When I get out, we could talk. Not to get back together, just to talk. To give me a chance to apologize in person. To show you I've changed. I think about you and Sophie every day. Wonder how she's growing. Wish I could see her. I made mistakes. Terrible mistakes. But I'm still her father. And I'd like, if it's possible, to be part of her life. Please consider it. Garrett. Elena read it twice. Analyzed it. Saw through it. The apology without accountability. I was sick, not I chose to hurt you. The request for forgiveness without earning it. The manipulation. I'm still her father as if biology trumped abuse. The future plans. When I get out, not if I get out. The assumption she'd still be available. Still waiting. Still his. He hadn't changed. The letter proved it. Still controlling. Still manipulating. Still trying to gaslight her into believing his version of reality. Elena stood, walked to the paper shredder Noah had given her. For moments like this, he'd said. She fed the letter through. Watched it become confetti. Destroyed. Powerless. No, she said out loud, to the letter, to Garrett, to anyone who thought she owed him anything. The answer is no. Now. Forever. No. She sat back down, pulled out her journal, the one Dr. Chen recommended. For processing, for healing, she wrote, Today I shredded Garrett's apology letter. without reading it all the way through, without giving it power. And I feel good, strong, free. I don't need his apology, don't want his explanation, don't care about his growth. His healing is his responsibility, mine is mine, and I'm actively choosing to heal without him, to live without him, to be free of him completely, finally free. She closed the journal, made tea, sat in her living room, her space, her sanctuary. On the wall, photos of Sophie, of Noah, of Rachel, of her mother, of herself before Garrett and after. A timeline of survival, of healing, of transformation. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Her heart jumped. Then she saw, "This is Sarah, Dr. Mitchell. I hope it's okay I'm texting. I wanted to check in, see how you're doing. You're remarkable. Don't forget that." Elena smiled, texted back, "Thank you for everything, for believing me, for helping me. I'm good, really good, and I'm helping others now, paying it forward. That's wonderful. If you ever need anything, ever, I'm here." People cared, good people. People who wanted to help, not control, not manipulate, just support. Elena had found them, built a new family, a chosen family, based on respect, trust, safety. She looked at Sophie's monitor, at her daughter sleeping peacefully, unaware of the violence she'd been born into, protected from it by Elena's courage. "I did it," Elena whispered. "I saved us, and I'm going to keep saving us. Every day, by being strong, by being honest, by being free." Her internal voice, once so critical, so afraid, now said something different. "You're enough. You've always been enough." He couldn't see it, couldn't appreciate it, but you are whole, complete, valuable, just as you are. Elena stood, walked to Sophie's room, watched her daughter sleep, her tiny chest rising and falling, her little fists curled, her face peaceful. "You're going to know your worth," Lena promised quietly. "I'm going to teach you, show you, model it. You're never going to question whether you deserve safety, respect, love, real love. Not the twisted version he called love, but actual, healthy, reciprocal love." Sophie stirred, made a small sound, settled back into sleep. Elena returned to her room, lay in bed, her space. No one to fear, no one to report to, no one controlling her sleep, her breath, her existence. She closed her eyes, thought about the past year, the trial, the verdict, the sentencing, the healing, the growth, the transformation. She thought about the future, about her new job, about Sophie's second birthday coming up, about holidays with Noah and Rachel, about continuing therapy, about helping other women, about living, about being alive, not just surviving, but truly alive, present, engaged, hopeful. The prison door had been unlocked all along. She'd been her own warden, believing Garrett's lies, internalizing his control, making herself smaller, quieter, less, but not anymore. Elena Bradford, 29 years old, single mother, survivor, advocate, free woman. She wasn't defined by what happened to her. She was defined by how she responded, by her courage, her resilience, her refusal to stay broken. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new triggers, new moments of doubt and fear, but tomorrow would also bring joy, growth, connection, life. And Elena, for the first time in a very long time, looked forward to tomorrow. She fell asleep smiling, dreaming not of the past, but of the future, of freedom, real freedom, complete freedom. And freedom tasted like hope, like possibility, like everything good. If Elena's story moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently about strength and survival, do me a favor, hit that like button. It tells me these stories matter to you. Drop a comment below. Tell me what moment hit you hardest. Was it when Noah recognized his sister? When she wore the wire? When she finally walked free? I read every single comment, and your thoughts mean everything. And if you want more stories like this, real stories about real people who faced impossible odds and came out the other side, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because courage comes in many forms. And every story we share might be the one that saves someone's life. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, you're stronger than you think. Freedom is possible, and you are never, ever alone. I'll see you in the next story.